Yeah. So all right. So we're going on to this. Oh, I have to say, this has been one of my not so fun chapters because I understand it, but I understand it just enough to get me through it. I don't understand why we need it. I don't understand what the purpose of it. So I guess, all reality, I'm regurgitating a lot. That's what has been explained, and I can explain it, but I don't understand it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just give you that my feeling on this. So,
well, I feel like I can't explain it, and I want to I think I'm the opposite of you. I don't know if I could do it, but I feel like I can't explain it, but I know enough of it to try to do it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and we can go ahead and start in. So, okay, so number one, which hypothesis between the null and alternative is the hypothesis of no effect or no difference or status quo is assumed to be true? That would be the alternative.
No.
It is not?
No, it's the null.
And see, there we go. Which hypothesis between the null? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. I'm reading it wrong. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. So, because and then the next one, how do you represent the represent on number two below represents a one-sided or two-sided? Well, the two-sided is basically with the mu or the mean is an equal, but with a crossing it out with equals to zero is the two-sided. So it's either can go left or right, and then what the one-sided is either greater or less than.
Yes.
So that I understood. Yeah. Okay. So, excuse me. Okay. So, thank you. So number three, fill in the matrix. Okay. So fail to reject I can't even read these. Is reject hypothesis alternative, or is that the hypothesis null?
So I think the O is null and the alternative is A.
Okay, see, I
tiny that you can't see them.
Yeah, so fail to reject, I think that's the O, which is the null, right? Is true, is correct, or it's accepted. And so, and then when you fail to reject the null, and the null is false, then you're doing a type 2 error, just because you're taking, from what I understand, it's the 2. It means that there's it means that you're basically just denying the stated facts. That's what I
You're absolutely right, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So but you reject the null, but it is true. That's another error, because why would you reject? That is another error, but it's type 1, because I guess the defense. And then again, when you reject it and it's false, that's correct. So I just got to, probably when it comes to the test, you sort of got to have that seared in your mind on how to do this. Otherwise, for like people like you and me, it seems like we don't understand all of it. But if we just understand why how the answer came about because of the answer that was given, then we can give the answer back, for me at least, only because I understand this matrix.
That's exactly me right there.
So, define which Greek letter is denoted? If I knew my Greek, I would like to call it is the alpha, but it's like, I like what
it's alpha.
like what they. I like what he said. It's like the fish. You know, he called
Yeah.
the Jesus fish. So I'm like, okay, I can remember that one. And the level of significance is the number of to determine if the p-value is small enough to reject the null hypothesis. I like what he came up with. He said right there. What was it? He says, hold on, I actually wrote this down.
Talking about the P is low.
Reject the null.
Reject the null.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one. All right, write down the formula for computing the test statistic for a hypothesis. So that was that z-score, you know, the
Yes.
sample mean minus the population mean over the standard deviation of standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample. All right.
Yeah.
Define the p-value. How is it used in a hypothesis test? The probability of this, I just said, the probability of the statistics to test the statistic is significant. So basically, it's taking the p-value as the probability, and you're taking what you found in the hypothesis test right there with the z-score and defining it if it is a significance or not.
Yes.
If the null hypothesis is rejected in a hypothesis test, what is concluded about the alternative hypothesis? The alternative is correct. Because it goes right back there to number 3.
That's true.
It's when it's rejected.
This is just word problems trying to confuse people.
Mm-hmm. And then, yep,
It is.
Yep. Okay, think of a couple of examples where you've seen hypothesis testing in real life. Open-ended question. He like the examples of the blood test. You know, you could do that. You can also do that in you know, saying how many moose populations are there in all the province of Canada, and then go to a park in Canada, a province of Canada, and actually test it out, and then you can do your variance from there. That's basically what I think they're trying to say with a hypothesis in real life. Okay.
Well,
you have any more to add?
I just kept thinking back to the temperature of how the normal body temperature is said 6 or whatever, and it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
But because of how they explain that and how it works.
Yeah. I like it. And it says all probabilities are the probabilities are all there. The problem is all probabilities, but all possibilities are not there. Does that make sense? There's a probability that 100 students will have a 5-degree variance from, you know, z-score from there, but the probability of it, the possibility is really, really low. So,
yeah.
Okay, so going to 9, determine the null and alternative hypothesis. The null is 529, right? Right.
Yeah.
529, and the alternative.
Because it's whatever is assumed to be true.
Mm-hmm. And then the professor feels the score has improved, so you now take the mean, and then it's greater than the 529 because it's improved. That's your alternative hypothesis. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Suppose you got evidence that the null hypothesis should be rejected. Okay. However, in reality, the mean score of the students taking this one is still 529. Was a type 1 or type 2 error committed? So I'm going back to that thing.
It's a type 1 because they basically ignored it.
Yep. And even though it's true, they rejected it.
Right.
Okay. If the analysis was done at the alpha is 0.01, what is the probability of committing a type 1 error? 1%.
Yes.
If we wanted to decrease the probability of making a type 2 error, we need to increase or decrease the level of significance. Now, this is the one I'm going to have to regurgitate because this is what they explained is when it's a polar opposite of the type 2. So the decrease of the probability of type 2 decreases, then increases the type 1. And it's vice versa. If you were to increase the probability of type 2, you have to decrease the type 1 error. That's what they explained. All right. All right. We good so far?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to 10A. Design. What is the population from the realtor obtained in this data? Population setting is the home buyers.
That's what you're trying to find out.
What's that?
Isn't it? He said it's what you're trying to find out.
Yeah. So what is the population from the realtor obtained? You know, it said right there.
How did he sample the population?
It's randomly.
To 15 of his clients.
Yep. And then what is the question? What is the average of someone buying a second home in their area versus the national average?
Okay.
Okay. Name at least one way the realtor could have randomly selected his sample, just drawn out of a hat. What
are
else?
you gonna trying to do a random number find there or whatever?
Yeah. Okay.
A random generator. That's what it was.
All right. All right. What? All right. What? All right. So we're going to describe the data graph on the histogram. Sketch it and cut and paste below. In short paragraph describes the data by at least 5 descriptive statistics. Well, that one was. I just basically went on to that quantitative summary thing, and
then it gives you the list of the different statistics, like the mean, the median, the standard deviation.
Yeah. So one thing though, this actually helped me to understand what the QQ plot was actually used for, because without really knowing what it is. So you put that information in the QQ plot on the tab on that tab sheet, whatever, on the whole thing, and it actually brings it out, and you need to check, and that will help you to determine whether or not if it's a, if it's what's the word I want to say, if it's
normal.
Normal. Thank you. So, but then it goes to.
In this QQ plot, it was not normal because it was squiggly.
Yep.
It needs to be linear to be normal.
Yeah. Almost there. I figured if they had a few more, they probably would have been more linear, and you would have been able to get that again. That goes to the central limit theorem. Is when you get more, it becomes okay. State the null and alternative hypothesis. Well, the null is 47, and the alternative is the equal to, and it's two-sided. Two-sided for the 47.
Yeah.
It was a two-tailed. Because he didn't care which way it went. Okay, and then that's going to be our p-value is the 0.05. And then
failed to reject because it was 0.83. Our p-value was.
Yeah. Failed to reject 8344. We got it because doing the z-score, which is 46 point. I got different. They said 46.73. Mine actually came on. My thing was 46.67. Mine is 47. So I didn't.
On your spreadsheet, was it 46?
I put mine was 46.66666666, and so I just put it 46.67. But when he was on the computer, listening on the tutorial, it said 46.73. So I don't know if it was I just went ahead and used his, so it came out to -0.207, and then the probability put it on the applet of going, like what you were saying, is 0.8344 because you went on both sides and failed to reject the null. Why? Because P is low. If P is low, reject the null.
Right.
But it was not low, so we failed to reject it.
Correct.
And so state your conclusion in terms of the alternative hypothesis. Well, according to what it was saying, was insufficient data evidence to conclude that the mean or 8 people buying it is different in this area than the national average. Meaning, I guess, meaning that if it was with the alternative hypothesis, if you had more information, you could call it sufficient, because it would probably, if you had 30 or so, then again, if I'm correct, that will go back to the central limit theorem, which will allow you to create a more sufficient hypothesis. Is that about right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then take action. What actions, if any, do you suggest a realtor to take based on your statistical conclusion? Just keep on targeting more people at that age, just based off of the null hypothesis. So
keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. So I think I don't know what the test is going to look like, but I got a feeling it's going to be a lot of word. So it's just got to be, we just got to look over this very carefully and make our assessment based off of what information we do have and refer things as we can. All right. That good? I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.
Good.
Okay.